Hi, welcome to my channel. Today's tutorial is on VLOOKUP. Learn the basics of VLOOKUP in this tutorial. It's something that's super easy and everybody needs a VLOOKUP. So on our desktop, we've saved a sample file known as VLOOKUP. Every Excel sheet ends with .xls. Alright, so let's open this VLOOKUP file. Okay, so here we've created a sample file that has 50 rows in it. So it's basically simple data, like it has an ID column, first name, last name, gender, country, age, date. The next sheet is the lookup column. So here we've already done the lookup. Let's delete that. So we have ID, first name, last name, age. So as you can see, we are going to do a lookup to populate the last name and age. Alright, so Excel can have a number of sheets here. So here we have two known as table. You can rename the sheets as well by doing a double click on it. So I'll go on and rename it to table source. So you know that this is our source data. Second is lookup, where we need to do the lookup. Okay, you can adjust the columns, not the columns, but the sheets. So here when you adjust it, you can see both your sheets here. Alright, so we've understood what the table looks like and what our lookup sheet is. Another quick shortcut that you can do is do a control page down. That way you can move between sheets. Page down is to move down, page up to move up. So control page down, control page up. Super simple. Okay, so here we need to populate the last name. So what is a VLOOKUP? Basically a VLOOKUP is, in layman's terms, it's a vertical lookup. So if you have a sheet full of data and you need to populate just a certain number of data from it, you can't sit and copy paste every cell or do a filter on each. It will be extremely time consuming. So you can go on and do a VLOOKUP. It's super easy. So between the two sheets, the lookup sheet and the table source sheet, we should have something that's common between the two sheets. In this case, as you can see, ID, first name, both are common. But as a best practice, you can always pick up the leftmost last column that's common. Also, it's better to take something like ID, source ID, product ID, serial number as your common value, because as you go ahead with data that has a lot of columns and rows, taking a common value like first name might not be the best idea. You'll know as and when you start dealing with a lot of data. So here let's not dwell into that. Let's start the VLOOKUP. So you do an equal to V. So when you type V, you see that there are a number of examples here: value, variance, VDB, and so on. Excel will give you all the options. You go on and type VLOOKUP. So you can either type the entire thing VLOOKUP and open the brackets. That is fine. Or you can do VLOOKUP. Excel will already give you the prompt. You press tab. And that's it. Your VLOOKUP is ready to start. So it'll tell you what do you need to populate in this: the lookup value, the table array, column index number, and your range. So lookup value is the common link between the two sheets that you're looking for. Here we know it's the ID column. So you type A2 or you go to your column A2, comma, table array. Table array meaning from which table are we looking for this ID? What's the source? So you do a control page up and you can select the entire table. So what I do is I simply do a Control Shift and down. You can select it manually, but this is easy. Do a Control Shift and down arrow. The entire table is selected. Now comma. Now it's telling me which column index number. So from this entire table, which column am I looking for? As you know, we are looking for the last name column. So it is 1, 2 and 3. That's the third column. So you type 3, comma. Now true match or approximate match. Meaning Excel will give you an exact match if it finds one, or it can also give you an approximate match. So as a best practice, so you type 0, or you can type false as well. But as you know, typing a long word like false is time consuming. So you type 0 and close the bracket, enter. Here you go. It's given us the last name. Now we need to populate this entire column. So what you can do is go to the last column CN, which is the last one, do a control and arrow up and do Control D. It will populate all the values. So Control D is something that is used to copy the above cell. Or another way out is you delete this, go to the first cell, go here in the corner, there's a box that you can see, double click it. It will populate everything as well. Or third option, you can simply drag this. It's copied it entirely. So you can choose any option that you're comfortable with. Now next we can see that the age column is completely empty. We need to populate this as well. So we can either practice by doing the VLOOKUP formula entirely, or we can simply copy this. So let's first try to copy this. So you copy this one and paste it here. Excel has given you female because what it's done is gone to the next cell after last name and directly populated it. But we know that we want age. So age is on which column here? It's on column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. You can see Excel is also counting columns. You can see 6C. So it's the 6th column. Yeah. So we type 6 in our formula bar. This on top is known as a formula bar. So you type 6 here and enter. Okay, but what we can see now is the date. Now you must wonder, why has that happened? So what Excel does is, it as and when you move cells, the formula also shifts and it moves cells. So as I copied this formula from here, from cell C2 to D2, instead of taking the exact formula, it has moved a cell. Here we had selected A2 as our ID. Now here it has gone and populated B2, which is incorrect. When we start doing a VLOOKUP formula, we need to lock these values in, so that as and when you copy paste it for large number of data, your cells should not shift. So by that I mean is, let's start the VLOOKUP once again. So you press V is equal to VLOOKUP tab. Now you need A2. So once you type A2, you can do an F4. It will give you the $sign. So what the $sign does is, it locks a particular column or row. When a $sign is before the column, it's going to lock your entire column, this A. So it's locking this entire column A, and if it's before 2, that means it will lock this entire row 2. In this case, we only wanted to lock column A. So you delete this $sign. So $sign before A, comma. Now which table array? That is the same process. You go and select the entire table. Now again, we don't want our table to shift. We want this table to be static. Anytime we go and copy the formula, this table should remain the same. So you go and simply press F4 in the entire formula. So these $signs have locked in the table completely. So as a practice for you, anytime that you're doing VLOOKUP, you can make it a habit to always make this $sign ahead of your first cell, and when you add the table source, a $sign ahead of the row and the column, comma. Now which column index number were we looking for? The last name, as you remember, 3, comma, exact match 0. Close your bracket. Here you go. It's populated the same thing again. Now you copy this formula and paste it here. Control C, Control V. Copy is Control C, paste is Control V. It's copied. Now when we go and edit this formula, age was in column 6. You go back here, column 6 is age, A, B, C, D, E, F, 6. So we edit this to column 6, enter. Here you go, it's given us the age. So what we simply did is we locked in this column A so that Excel doesn't automatically start shifting columns, and we locked in the table so Excel doesn't move our table as well. So you can simply double click, populate it here, double click and populate it here. Okay, for example, you want to search your ID, so you search for ID 1582. So here 1582, the last name is matching and so is the age. Okay, so this ends the tutorial on the lookup. Please do like and subscribe on this video if you've enjoyed it today, and this would encourage us to make more videos and make Excel learning fun and simple. Thank you.